Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be, we're going to finish section 3.4 with this video. This inequality, I actually teach my students, can be thought of as a sandwich. -2 is the bottom piece of bread, 10 is the top piece of bread, and 3x plus 4 is the filling. It's sort of like the peanut butter and jelly. This, notice how I spell the word sandwich. You see the word A-N-D in it, the word and. This is actually an and statement. 3x plus 4 is greater than -2 and 3x plus 4 is less than 10. But it's an implied and, so it's much easier to solve than the problems where we required a helper graph. This does not require one. When you're solving a sandwich, your goal is to get x alone in the middle. So my first step toward doing that is to subtract 4 from everything. So -2 minus 4 is -6. When I subtract it from the middle, I have 3x. When I subtract it from the back part, I have 6. To get x alone in the middle, we divide by 3. No sign changing. -2 here, +2 here, and x in the middle. When I graph this, -2 and +2 have parens since there's no equal sign. In interval notation, we're going from -2 comma to 2. And in set builder notation, we have the set of all x's such that x is sandwiched in between -2 and +2. Set builder notation always has variables in it. Interval notation does not. Neither does the graph. All right. Okay, this next example is also a sandwich. 6 is the bottom piece of bread, 18 is the top, and -3x is the filling. When I divide by -3 with the goal of getting x alone in the middle, I have a -2 here and a -6 here, but notice that because we divided by a negative, we have to reverse our signs. Now, one thing that's not good about the way this is written, -2 is actually a larger number than -6. So it would be a lot better to write this as this, okay? It says the same thing. X is less than -2 still says x is less than -2. X is greater than or equal to -6, it still says x is greater than or equal to -6. We just put it in the right order. But I always try to tell my students to order it. So in general, when you're writing a sandwich, I do want the inequality signs, the little small tips pointing to the left. -6 has a bracket on it since it's included. -2 does not. I shaded everything in the middle. Bracket -6 comma -2 for interval notation. And of course our set builder notation is the set of all x's such that x is sandwiched in between -6 and -2 with an equals as a possibility for the -6. Okay, this one with fractions in it, I'm going to start off multiplying by 10. 11 times 10 is 110. When I multiply the building in the middle by 10, the 10's cancel, resulting in 10x minus 2. 15 times 10 is 150. My goal, since this is a sandwich, is to get x alone in the middle. When I add 2 to all parts, I get 112. I have a 10x and I have a 152. When I divide by 10, 11.2, 15.2, x is alone in the middle. When I graph this sandwich, I'm going from 11.2 to 15.2. In interval notation, 11.2 comma 15.2, of course with parens. And set builder notation is the one with the letters in it. The set of all x's such that x is in between 11.2 and 15.2. And my final problem here is a worded problem. The dimensions of a rectangle are x plus 4 and 5x. Find the values of x for which the perimeter would range between 50 and 80 feet. Okay, 50 feet is my small number, 80 feet is my large number, so I'm sandwiched between 50 and 80. Notice the inequality signs always point to the left in a sandwich. The reason I put equals, even though this is up for debate, if I say from 50 feet, it may be exactly 50. It may be bigger, but it may be equal to, and the same with the 80. And notice how I find perimeter. Twice the length plus twice the width. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. When I distribute, I get 2x plus 8 and then plus 10x. That becomes 12x plus 8. I now get x alone in the middle by subtracting 8 from all parts, resulting in 42, 72, and 12x in the middle. When I divide everything through by 12, there's no sign reversal. 42 over 12 becomes 3.5, 72 divided by 12 becomes 6, x is in the middle. Our answers are any values of x that go from 3.5 to 6 inclusive. And what I mean by inclusive is you put the bracket because those are part of your solution set. The 3.5 is included, and so is the 6.